And welcome back to the Sporting Lounge with your fantastic host, Austin and I. Tonight we will be talking about Week 14 NFL football, fantasy, perspective over and odds, bets, and congratulations, Austin, on the 100th episode.
What a milestone. What a
Yes,
milestone.
sir.
Fun milestone, too.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been apart for almost half of them.
Yeah. Yep. I have
Long
been.
ways.
Yes,
Time
sir.
flies. Time flies.
It does, doesn't it?
It's wild. Wild.
Wow,
So
wow,
real quick, I saw this report and I kind of want you to get an opinion on it. So there's a couple things I want to talk about. This one's smaller. The next topic's going to be a little bit bigger. One, what do you think about Jake Ferguson being apparently Dak's security blanket? Do you think that's going to cause his fantasy relevance to boom? Or do you think he's just going to kind of be more of a boom bust type player with more bust?
Maybe a 5% swing in roster at this juncture. That's about where I put massive. It. Yeah.
Okay. And then my next thing, the college football playoffs. And the fact that it looks like ESPN might have known in 10, 15 minutes beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, do you think they knew, and do you agree with the rankings?
No. I think they might have known.
Possible.
But I don't know. Like, they might have known, like, a little bit ahead so then they could broadcast it. Not necessarily, like, in a malicious way. Maybe they got, like, 30 minutes early. And they started getting the broadcast ready. That's what probably happened.
Very possible.
Now, like...
I wouldn't be surprised if that is what happened.
Florida State not getting in? Obscene.
You're setting a dangerous precedent.
Yeah.
By doing so. But also at the same time, I think it was kind of a... to me, the only guaranteed team was Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last three spots was a four-way fight.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, I'm not surprised Alabama made it. I don't think they should have, but I'm not surprised that they did.
I mean, Michigan earned their spot at this juncture.
You can make a debate.
They went undefeated, first of all.
Yeah, again, okay, but I'm just saying you can make that debate because Florida got one undefeated and won their championship.
But they didn't beat number 3 in the nation.
Okay, but there's still that debate that you could have that they might have maybe not made it and Florida State made it over them. I don't know. You could also make that debate that Georgia maybe deserved it more than fucking Alabama.
But Alabama beat them.
Or Michigan. Yeah, but jump fucking 4 spots? Come on.
That's fair. Florida State not getting in is so fucking horrible.
When they were already ranked 4.
Yeah.
Like, I understand them staying at 4 and Texas jumping up to 3. I get it. I understand that because Texas played phenomenal. And I understand Washington moving up to 2 because they played phenomenal. To me, they should be the number 1 team in the country based on the season they've played. And I would have kept Michigan at 2. I would have kept Michigan at 2, Washington 1, Texas 3, Florida State 4. That's kind of how I would have done it, personally. Because I think kind of like what this is saying is if you're not the Big Ten and if you're not an SEC school, you almost have no shot.
Yeah.
Right? Because even though Texas isn't one yet, they will be next year. So I think it's good they're going to the 12-team playoffs because then this wouldn't matter. There'd be no controversy because everyone would be in the playoffs. Right? You're just playing for that. I don't know if there's going to be a bye week for them or if every team is playing from the get-go in the playoffs.
I'm not sure either.
Remember that part.
I didn't look too much into it because, like, nothing's been confirmed yet, has it?
I mean, the 12-team playoff is confirmed.
We
That's
don't
why.
know the enrollment and the details of it though.
Yeah,
Correct?
well, I don't think we know how it's going to be done.
Yeah.
But even if that's the case, you're only going to have like the 1 or 2 seed
Yeah.
really get the bye week if there is a bye week kind of thing. So almost kind of doesn't matter, but it also does.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think Florida got hoed pretty bad.
I think so
And
too.
that's something I'll die on because they deserved it. I don't think Alabama necessarily did, although Alabama's not the same team that they were at the beginning of the season, nor is Florida State. So I understand them not getting it. But then if you're going to do that to Alabama, you have to look at other teams in the playoffs
Mm-hmm.
and apply that same logic, right? Because by that same, you could argue Michigan doesn't deserve it. You could argue Texas doesn't deserve to be in it. Because even though they both got a couple big wins, Florida State has some big wins too as well. So it's sad because they deserve to be in that playoffs. And I don't know. I guess we'll have to see what happens next year.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm-hmm. What would have been your rankings? Would have been how it is now and have Florida State at 4, not Alabama?
Michigan, Washington, Bama, Florida State.
Oh,
Bama did beat the number 1 team in the nation.
it's an all right one.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it should have jumped them up, but not high enough to be not 5 slots. Personally.
I feel like really it was like a tie at 5.
And well, kind of how like a lot of people were saying was that it was really a tie at 3. But
Mm-hmm.
since Texas beat Bama earlier, they gave it the tiebreaker to Texas.
Yeah.
It's kind of how a lot of people were describing it. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense because Texas did beat them by 10. So why wouldn't the tiebreaker go to Texas?
Yeah, Texas earned it.
They did.
But like if I had to pick what my top 4 would have been like prior to it, like if I'm predicting, that would have been my order because like I think they would have want Bama in more than Texas at this juncture.
They always want Bama in, man. So I get it. They never not want to have Bama.
Yeah.
They need to have Bama. They need Bama.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, roll into the ground.
One of my favorite players for the Steelers played for Alabama. Najee Harris. Steelers, Patriots, Thursday Night Football. What you thinking?
I'm thinking that I hate being a fan of a losing team. I'm not used to it. And it's just going to continue this week because the Steelers are going to win 17-7. I think that's what it's going to be. That's kind of my line right now. I think you can start Zeke if Ramondre doesn't play because he's questionable right now. You sit whoever the hell the quarterback's going to be for the Patriots.
And the Steelers.
Right. And the Steelers, yeah, because you don't really trust Mr. Trubisky.
Yeah.
Yeah. And whether it's Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones playing, it's potentially only 2 quarters from both of them, right? Neither one of them may play the full game. And so because of that, you can't trust the receivers. Maybe the tight ends, but the running backs seem to have the safest play for the Patriots. The only ones that you can fully count on and go for. And then from the Steelers side of the ball, I would fire up Jalen Warren and Najee Harris. But then sitting their quarterbacks and receivers for the exact same reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Mick Trubisky could be good enough to get you the win, but not good enough to give fantasy relevance to the wide receivers or the tight end.
I agree. I think Freiermuth could have a big game.
Yeah, and if like that's kind of what I was going to circle back to. Like if a receiver has a big game, it's going to be one of the tight ends from either team, right? So like the tight ends are the play, outside of the running backs.
Yeah, I
I
trust
think.
Hunter Henry. I'd feel comfortable with Pat Fryermuth. I'd feel comfortable with Connor Hayward if you really want to go for a boomer bust. He's been getting a lot of quiet touches this season. What better
Yeah.
option than against a shitty Patriots team?
Shitty offense.
Hey, bro, we ass.
We terrible. I want to cry. This makes me so sad, dude. So sad.
Mood. Well,
Mood
anyways,
is ruined.
I think it's 13-3 Steelers. I think the smart move is to just run the ball down the Patriots' throats and just win the game. Do I think that's what the Steelers are going to do? No. I think that they're just going to randomly start trying to gunsling it with Mitch Trubisky. Make the game closer than it has to be.
Yo, man, I could also see it being like a 9-0 win for the Steelers. I could see it being a second straight shutout.
I could see it too. I'd cry.
This is going to be a good defensive game, but it's going to be bad offensively.
Yeah.
Unless a different Mitch Trubisky shows up, which is possible.
Bailey Zappi could develop.
Yeah, assuming he doesn't just play just the first half.
Yeah.
Or just the second half. So, I mean, you don't really get to see much that way. So
Yeah.
who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what Bailey Zappi we're going to get?
It'd be
or what
wild.
Mac Jones we're going to get. Maybe Mac Jones plays and throws for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and we whoop your ass. I don't know.
I'd cry.
I would laugh so hard, and the way I would be so excited for Tuesday is crazy. I don't care what order we're going in. That's the first game we're talking about.
Well, it would be the first game we talk about. And what the second game?
If you try to steer clear of it, I would just reel it back in.
No, but the second game we're going to talk about this week, Falcons Bucks.
Sid Baker. Trash.
Sid Baker. Wild.
Trash ass quarterback. Terrible quarterback. Hate him. Obviously, you start Mike Evans and Rachaad White. I think they're pretty safe bets. Well, mainly Mike Evans, but Rachaad White, I think you could play pretty comfortably. Wouldn't be upset about that. Chris Godwin, he's had some really good weeks, but he's also had some weeks where he wasn't really productive because he wasn't getting the work. And this could be one of those weeks, but I'd still be willing to start him because I think he's going to pop off against a weaker Falcons secondary. They've been playing not as great. So I'd be willing to start him. And I think that's about it from the Bucks.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you. On the Falcons side of the ball, I don't know how much I'm trusting the running attack. Algier, I probably wouldn't start this week. Bijan, obviously, for how much you had to give up for him, you're starting at least at flex. Desmond Ritter.
You have to start Bijan for the capital alone.
Desmond Ritter, I wouldn't start this week. None of the receivers I'd start either. Kyle Pitts.
I'd be considering is Drake London.
Even Drake London, I'm not too high on. What's the score you're giving this game?
I'm not high on him either, but he's the only one I'd consider.
Yeah, I'm seeing 5 points from him.
No. I think he gets 11.
I think 12 is the ceiling.
I think he gets, 5 catches, 50 yards. 5 catches, 60 yards, something like that. That's kind of where I'm thinking he's going to land. Bro, part of me wants to say this, the Falcons. Not even going to lie. Part of me wants to say the Bucks. Because this game is kind of 50-50 to me. Because they're both not good. And they're both kind of bad. But I'm going to give it to the Bucks 21-17.
I'm thinking 27-13 Falcons.
Ooh. I think the difference maker for the Bucks is going to be the quarterback play. Because as much as I don't like Baker, he's a much better quarterback than Desmond Ritter.
That's fair. That's fair. I think the Falcons' offense. I think that it's just going to be like a steady pace of attack. Short field situations, selling for white field goals, getting a couple tutties.
So do you think it's just going to be a ground and pound from the Falcons?
No, I think Desmond Ritter throws a couple picks, takes a couple sacks, throws a couple touchdowns. But he's going to be worth like probably 10 points would be my guess. Bijan's probably going to have a good day. I'm expecting about a 100-yard performance with a touchdown, couple receptions, 15, 25 points.
Do you think Bijan, with how much, especially in rookie drafts, right? You have to draft him 101.
Mm-hmm.
And even in some like redraft leagues, do you think he's almost an auto lock for how high you draft him?
I think he has to be.
I would say so too, because you draft him pretty high.
Even in redraft, yeah.
You draft him highly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I would agree with you. Like, you have to play him just because of how high you drafted him. You can't really sit that player on your bench.
Unless you have like Jalen Warren or something. And like you have a good RB2. Yeah. Maybe if you have Jalen Warren and Zach Moss.
Ooh, that'd be deadly.
Or, if you could get your hands on a guy like Montgomery, like in a later round.
Where do you rank Bijan in your tier?
Probably around 8, maybe 9.
Okay, let me ask you a different question, which goes with this. Rank your RBs 1 through 10.
RB1, you already know. CMC, obviously.
DeAndre Swift. Oh shit, we went in different directions.
No, Christian McCaffrey.
I almost said I was going to say Miles Sanders, but I like CMC better. So I get it.
Number 2, I would say Alvin Kamara.
Not doing a lot rushing, but he's just so involved on the offense.
Yeah, the offense runs through Alvin. It just does. Mm-hmm. If Alvin doesn't have a good game, they lose. Period. They don't necessarily win every game that he has a good game, but you don't necessarily need to have a good game or win every game to have a good game, especially when you're catching the ball 10 times. Some games and you're carrying the ball for 50 yards and you got 100 yards receiving and a touchdown. Mm-hmm. Fantasy-wise, that's 21 points, and it's pretty consistent that he has a stat line like that. So it's just like...
Yeah, there's like one game where he got, I think it was like 17 targets, 15 targets.
Mm-hmm.
And like 10 or 11 catches on top of that. It was absurd.
Yeah. The number 3, I'm kind of leaning towards Montgomery just because of his touchdown potential, or Gus Edwards, even just because of the same reason. Those are my 3 and 4 interchangeably. James Conner is probably 5 or 6.
So kind of like Jamal Williams.
That's
kind of what David Montgomery's been.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Short yardage guy, but like David Montgomery just tears for 5 or 6 yards every carry. Najee doesn't have. Najee plays a similar way, but he just doesn't have the touchdowns behind him to back it up. When we're talking about fantasy rankings.
Yeah, if David Montgomery didn't have the touchdowns, we wouldn't be talking about him the same way. Right?
Exactly. Because we'd be talking about him like we're talking about Najee.
Yeah, people would be like, okay, it's time for Jahmyr Gibbs. It's time for Gibbs take over the workload.
Yep.
But since he's getting those touchdowns and getting those points fantasy-wise, we're like, okay, this is a deadly 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I got to put Connor up there pretty high up too. Eckler as well. Eckler above Connor, so probably 5 Eckler, 6 Connor, 7 Saquon because he just hasn't been healthy consistently enough. 8 Bijan, 9 Najee, number 10 Pacheco. Honestly,
Pacheco's been good. Okay, I actually really like your list. So let me ask you this then real quick before we move on to the next week. Where would you rank Dalvin Cook and Zeke if they're on different teams being the lead back, the bell cow?
Zeke? Probably about 13. Dalvin Cook? Probably about 6.
I think that's fair because Dalvin Cook, to me, has always been the better back between the two. especially in those lead bell call situations, because
He's a
you can go
grinder.
back and look at the stats. Dalvin Cook has been more consistent.
The thing is with Dalvin Cook,
throughout his whole career,
he grinds down defenses, and he has the speed to go ahead and make those like grinded yards into the explosive plays. Like the difference,
like so many times you'll see him go inside, outside, and explode for those outside yards, and that just tears your defense up.
You start packing inside, run a pinch or something, get a Mike coming down the alley, trying to hit that B gap, and next thing you know, Dalvin's going the other way, and now you don't got your Mike to cover him. Now he's just tearing through the secondary.
Right.
Looking King Henry-esque.
It's a deadly combination.
But I do think Montgomery would be doing it better. And that leads us to our next game. Bears-Lions.
I so bad want to say the Bears win.
That's so wild of you.
So quirky. But I'm going to say Lions win this, even though I don't want to. They probably win 27-17. I think 27-20, somewhere in that range. So I'm gonna say 27-17 to be exact. I think they win this pretty handily. I think they're going to control the whole game. The Bears aren't going to really be able to stop the passing attack, maybe limit the run game a little bit, because they got a good front four, a good front seven, but their secondary is lacking a little bit, especially in recent weeks. So, with that being said, like I think you fire up Jared Goff, I think you fire up Dave Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown. You play Sam Laporta, obviously, because he's just been playing too good, especially as a rookie, to not start him.
Yeah, he's a stud.
Unless you have someone not named Kelsey or something like that, you know.
Even so, do you think Laporta is good enough to be in a flex spot?
I mean, I think so. I think you still put him in your lineup, even if you have someone like a Kelsey or a Kittle.
I think he's worth it.
I think he'll get you more points than someone else that you put in your flex spot. So I think I would. And then for the Bears side, I think you can safely start Justin Fields in this game. And then obviously DJ Moore, I think is good enough to start because he's doing just as good as Amon-Ra. He has just 14 less catches on the season, but almost identical stats.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, especially with new quarterbacks coming into play. Or not, like allegedly at practice for the Bears. There's been, extra practices being done with the starters and shit, So if that comes to fruition,
what you think?
I don't know, man. I really don't like anyone on this Bears team. I really think the score is going to be like 34-13 Lions. I'm starting Goff. I'm starting Amon-Ra, obviously. I'm starting Montgomery, obviously. I think Gibbs is a safe start here. I wouldn't be surprised if Gibbs has a boom game this week. Kmet, I'd be comfortable starting at tight end as a low value tight end, especially if you're streaming for the Bears.
Yeah.
But that's really all I'm feeling from this game.
That's not a bad start.
Yeah.
No one else?
Not particularly.
You know what? Okay, so let me ask you this: what do you think the biggest hole on their roster is?
The Bears?
To you, what is their the biggest position of need?
Wide receiver.
See, I was thinking quarterback. Cause I'm just kidding. I think wide receiver is fair. I know we've talked about this in the past. The Bears still need to draft Marvin Harrison.
Yeah, I think Marvin Harrison does a lot for that team. Like it does something for you that drafting a quarterback just doesn't. Which drafting Marvin Harrison gives you that number one wide receiver for the next 4 or 5 years, guaranteed, done deal. It gets you a valuable character guy And it makes it so Justin Fields has to prove that he is him. So you're either getting a playoff berth this next
Right.
year, or you know that you're drafting a new quarterback. So if Justin Fields shits the bed, Marvin Harrison won't be good enough to carry the team to an extra like 3 or 4 wins even, because he's a wide receiver and Justin Fields is supposedly that bad. Like, I don't see Marvin Harrison coming in and just getting the Bears 4 wins. It's either Marvin Harrison comes in and Justin Fields and Marvin Harrison get the Bears to like 12 total wins on the season, but I don't see them like coming out of like more than 4 wins on the year just because they draft Marvin Harrison. That's just kind of
Right.
where I'm at with the Bears. So like they draft
Yeah.
Marvin Harrison, I don't see them going like 8-9 or 9-8 and then getting a mid-round draft pick and now they can't pick their quarterback. No, it's like they're still going to be drafted in the top 5 probably, maybe even top 10. Like, and you get 2 high first-round picks here. Take guys that are going to support Justin Fields, because you know what happens if Justin Fields doesn't work out? You got that support system for the next quarterback. And we've seen quarterbacks succeed in that exact exchange many times before. Recent example, CJ Stroud versus Bryce Young. Bryce Young's offense wasn't ready for him to blossom in. CJ Stroud's was. And it's that simple. Wide receivers stepped up to the plate, young guys that did. But you look at where the foundation begins with their offensive line, that $103 million offensive line. There's a reason that CJ Stroud is able to pass so effectively. He has all day in the fucking pocket. Look at a guy like
Yep.
Brock Purdy, who is a guy that's not elite by any stretch of the imagination, just analytically or, you know, anyway, but he looks elite for the 49ers. So
He has a good support system,
he
and
does.
that's half the battle, especially for a young quarterback. Right. That's why we've seen a lot of young quarterbacks fail. That's why we saw Ryan Tannehill fail with the Jags. That's why we kind of seen Bryce Young play the way he's been playing.
Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars at the beginning of his career. Andrew Luck had to deal with it, pretty bad for the first few years with the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
You never give that team that support system.
So it's like that's why I always kind of hate when people call a quarterback a system quarterback, because every player is a system player to an extent, right? I think some systems just help players a lot more than others, and some players are better fitted for certain systems or certain coaches or whatever. And it's not a knock on anyone at that.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at the change that Jared Goff had. Like, the Rams are one of those teams where they're, like, not very stable at the core of the organization, especially during Jared Goff's tenure there. He goes over to the Lions, and they already have a stable system with their offensive line, young wide receivers that are very talented and able to grow. And with the addition of Sam Laporta being introduced in that concoction on that offense, it could really make it so the Lions are scary. Yeah. And Jared Goff, he's good enough to pilot this team. He just is. So as long as he doesn't take a mega buxo deal from another team, he's probably going to be the Lions franchise quarterback for cheap.
Yeah, because true. And with Jared Goff as an example, he doesn't have to be some superstar caliber type player. He just has to play well. He just has to play good. He doesn't have to be at that superstar level. There's not as much pressure on him being on the Lions as there was with him being on the Rams.
After the Super Bowl appearance, in which he choked, kind of.
And then being like a top pick. Too. And I mean, well, being a Patriots fan, I'm glad he played bad and choked a little bit. So I'm happy about that.
Speaking of teams that choke deep in playoff runs, Colts, Bengals.
Oof. Dude, after last game, I kind of want to start Jake Browning. I think I might this week.
I think that would be
the Browning wave.
I think that would be a fatal mistake. I don't think that the Bengals are going to be able to stick it to the Colts like they did.
Listen, man, I don't know what's gonna happen.
Is it a risk you're really willing
But
to take? Really willing to take?
it's him or Aiden. It's him or Aiden O'Connell.
Okay, well, yeah, then he's the safer bet.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Those are my two backups because Burrow got hurt.
Yeah, Jake Browning's probably better.
So I'm willing to take that bet because he has the better offense, I think, as a whole. Because he has Mixon and Chase, which I think you fire up.
What about
You
Boyd?
could. I was about to bring that up. You could potentially start Boyd.
Is Higgins
I
supposed to
think
be
he could
coming
get
back
some
this week?
work. Let me look at the injury report. I'll tell you. Let's see. Higgins is. He's not on the injury report.
Yep, awesome. Higgins, I think, is someone that is bound to have a breakout game. Did you know T. Higgins is 6'4"?
Yeah,
I always think of him as a smaller guy.
he's a big dude.
I always think of him as a smaller
He's-
type receiver because of how fast and agile he is.
Bro. And then but then he's so big and tall, he can just high point the ball so well. So you just throw the ball up to him, and most of the time he's going to come down with it.
Do you think T. Higgins on any other team in the NFL would be a number one wide receiver?
I think there's very few teams where he wouldn't be.
Name those teams.
The Raiders.
Okay.
The 49ers.
Okay. The Bills.
I would argue he wouldn't be. The Bills, he would not be. Potentially the Jets, because I think Garrett Wilson's really good, and I think the Jets really love Garrett Wilson, so they might give the edge to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can make that argument.
Minnesota.
Minnesota, yes. Maybe the Titans.
No, I think
because
he
they
could
have
take over
D-Hop.
D-Hop.
He could, but it depends on how much they love D-Hop.
Yeah.
But I think D-Hop inherently is just going to have the number one role because of his career so far. And I think it kind of ends with
Detroit.
Oh yeah, because they got Amon-Ra, so I could understand the argument for him.
Mm-hmm.
And then
The
Seattle
Rams. Seattle.
and the Rams.
But
So
I think
we're pretty much like half the league almost.
yeah, but
I think it's between,
also
like 12 teams.
also I think that he would be competing in all those teams for wide receiver one.
Yeah, but every other team, I think he'd be the certified number one.
Yeah.
Giants number one, Patriots number one, Steelers number one.
I think George Pickens should be number one.
Mm-hmm.
I think T. Higgins is better than Deontay Johnson, honestly. But I don't think he's better than George Pickens.
Okay, so close number two.
Yeah, close number
What
two.
about the Ravens?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
you
about
gotta put him above Zay Flowers, I think.
I think so too. Jaguars.
Calvin Ridley's a stud and all, but like T. Higgins is really fucking good.
Yeah, he is.
It's nothing against
Yeah.
Calvin Ridley. It's just I think T. Higgins is low key like Moss like, and he doesn't get the credit, because he hasn't had those fantastic catches that are like replayable. George Pickens, the biggest reason that he has his name out there and everybody's like, oh yeah, he's a wide receiver for the Steelers, is because he had that amazing catch, I believe, against the Bengals and one against the Browns.
Yeah.
Like that one-handed grab, he's snatching out the air, arguably better than OBJ's, Like,
You can make that argument.
George Pickens doesn't have that catch. Not as many people know him. T. Higgins hasn't had that catch, but he's just a solid, like, consistent, all-around great player. And he has the ability to moss players. He just doesn't really have to usually because he has really good route, like, precision. So it's not like he has to, like, get matched up on a fade because you got Jamar Chase doing that. So his job on this offense is to try to draw attention off of him. And he's a stud. So I would start him this week. I like him in this matchup.
And the Dolphins, you want to put T. Higgins over, not the number one on.
Yeah. Here's some numbers for you.
It's about the Dolphins.
Last week against the Jags, 3 receptions on 3 targets. Against the Buffalo Bills, 8 receptions, 9 targets, 110 yards. So broke the 100-yard barrier. So that's 5 points. So he's at 16. plus the 8, that's 24 points just 2 weeks ago. The week before that, 5 receptions on 6 targets, 69 yards. So 11 points. Really solid. Almost 12. Week before that and the week before that aren't as great, but 2 receptions on 4 targets, 20 yards, and 2 receptions, 4 targets, 19 yards. It's just like he's almost catching everything that's being thrown his way. It's like 75% plus of the passes getting thrown his way. He's just coming down.
You make excellent points.
So, I mean,
how confident are you the rest of the year?
I think he only gets better. I think against the Jags, he's still coming off injury. I think his injury was worse than people really realize. He missed 3 weeks on an injury that usually only takes 1 or 2 weeks off. But, if he's having that difficult of a time, maybe he's still coming off of it and he's trying to will through it. Some players deal with pain differently than others. Grit is a stat, like if you want to look at it like that, Players that are able to tough out pain like Ronnie Lott, who can cut his pinky off in the middle of a game and come back in. Not every guy is like that.
Yeah, not every guy's built like that.
And
that's fair.
It's just one of those things, So, some players that are able to deal with concussions all day, can't deal with a broken finger. Look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre says, "Oh yeah, I used to get my bell rung all the time." But you look at a guy like Vontaze Burfict, who is able to play through broken bone injuries, and Ben Roethlisberger for the same manner, but they get a concussion and they're out of the game. Just different guys handle shit differently, and he just got caught up on the bad side of an injury, and I don't think it's going to be long-term effectiveness being declined. I think, honestly, I think right now is one of the best times to buy him because he's going to be a free agent after next season. So he'll end up being a number 1 receiver on another team, and you can go ahead and snatch him, especially in dynasty leagues.
How much would you buy him for?
A second.
Would you be willing to go? Do you think that's high or fair or low?
I think that's a little high. I'd say like 60% at 50%.
So just above. So not too bad.
Yeah, like ideally I would give a player that's 2nd to 3rd round value, later 2nd, ideally.
I think I could agree with that. Honestly. I think a 2nd round is more than fair. And if they try to push for a 1st or a 2nd and a little, like a lower rated player, I think that'd be like an auto no for me. It's like an automatic. That's too rich for my blood.
Yep.
Because I think a 2nd round is just above fair.
Yeah. Like he does have only 30 receptions, 364 yards, and 2 TDs on the season. So, in 14 weeks, that means he's averaging what? Or 13 weeks finished, he's averaging 2 receptions per game, a little bit over 2 receptions per game. There is a dog that is just climbing onto the couch right next to me. So
I heard the shakes and then I saw it.
yeah, bro, he's just coming on through.
Like don't mind me. I'm just gonna scooch on right here.
Yeah, bro, honestly. He's only averaging like fucking what? 7 points per game, about 8 points per game. But he missed 3 weeks and he's still averaging that throughout the whole season. So really his average is probably around like 10 to 11 points. What happens when he becomes the Cardinals' number 1 wide receiver and we see Kyler Murray being able to throw the ball effectively and efficiently? Again, that's what we're seeing from him.
And like as time goes on, I think he's just going to get better.
Me too. Final score.
Oh, God. You go first.
I'm going to say Colts 27, Bengals 17.
I'm going to say Bengals 34, Colts 24.
I could see it.
The Bengals win this.
I could see it. All right. So Bengals buddies over in Ohio are going to go ahead and take on the Jaguars this week. What are you thinking here, Austin?
The Jags. I think the Jags are in real trouble. Especially losing Trevor Lawrence for the next 4 weeks or so.
Yeah.
Good amount of time. I think but also at the same time, the Browns are down their starting quarterback too. So I don't know. I'm probably only starting ETN
Mm-hmm.
for the Jags. Probably not taking a chance on any of the wide receivers. I might think about Evan Ingram as like a nice little security blanket for the Jags. But outside of that, I'm not comfortable starting anyone. And it's kind of the same logic with the Browns. Jerome Ford, I'm pretty comfortable playing.
Kareem Hunt.
I think you could flex him this game. Put him in the starting lineup.
I could see it.
And I think he'll get you 10 points.
Yeah, I'm about on the same page as you. I'm thinking 13-10 Jags.
Yeah, I was going to go about 17-10 personally. But I like it. I got no problems.
On to the next. Panthers, Saints.
Saints easy.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no question about it.
You starring, is Derek Carr out this week again?
He's questionable, I believe, from
Yep.
what I saw.
That's what
Could be
I think.
wrong. Let me see if I can look this up. Swear to God, he was questionable. But if I'm
He was limited today.
yeah.
Concussion
But
clearance is the only thing that would keep him from returning. So if he doesn't start, you start Jameis?
No, I don't.
You start
I
Derek
don't
Carr?
think if Derek Carr plays, I'd start him. I think you could start Jameis if your starting
Desperate.
quarterback goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, because I lost Joe Burrow, I would start Jameis. But I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
He'll probably get you 10 to 15 points because he's going to have probably about 240 yards passing, but he's going to have a couple interceptions, maybe a couple touchdowns to go with it. For the Saints, I think you start Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave. I think is a lock.
Obviously. Olave's proven
About
himself.
it for me.
Yeah.
Plus, they're kind of banged up on the receiving side of the ball right now too, as well.
You start anybody on the Panthers side of the ball?
Bro.
I think Raheed Shaheed would be a good start this week, by the way, for the Saints.
He might. I mean, I could get it because the Saints are kind of banged up offensively with wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
But from the Panthers side of the ball, I'm not really excited about anyone. I may start Adam Thielen.
Yeah. I think Thielen has got himself into flex lock category.
Because he has good yardage. He just doesn't have a lot of touchdowns. He has 4 on the year, which isn't horrible, but it's not great either.
But he has the catches and the yards.
Exactly, because he has 80 receptions for 750 yards and then 4 touchdowns. So I would think about starting him. I would probably lean towards it. But everyone else on the Panther side of the ball, I'm kind of staying away from.
Final score on this one?
I think it's going to be an easy Saints win, 27-10.
I'm kind of thinking, I don't know. I'm really thinking 24. 10. Saints.
I swear to God, if you say, okay, I thought you were going to go Panthers.
They're going to have a game that they win, but it's not going to be a game I bet on.
Yeah. It's like the Panthers could be good. I think they have the makings.
Yeah.
They have some good pieces. They have a very talented quarterback in Bryce Young. Now they just need to build around him.
Yeah.
They need to do what the Texans did and focus on those key positions.
Those gaping holes like
line,
guard.
like offensive line and defensive line, and then at the cornerback spot, right? They need to actually invest some capital instead of trading it away. Until they do that, and then they invest some money in the offseason. There's going to be plenty of free agents that the Panthers can go out and sign to help not necessarily get rid of those holes altogether, but they can make some improvements. And give those guys some chances. So this offseason is going to be big for them.
I agree.
I'm interested to see what they do.
There's going to be some good moves that they could definitely make. Offensive line is going to be a wide open position, not only in the draft, but during free agency. A lot of great offensive linemen are going to be available this free agency probably. So, because of that.
Do you think the offensive line is something they should just have clean the house with?
No, they have a good right tackle.
Okay.
They have a good left tackle. They both have been playing solid. It's interior pressure specifically. The center doesn't have a great release on the ball. I think getting a Pro Bowl caliber center, honestly, might be a life changer for that team. If they just upgrade their center, that might be all they need to do. But, with how poorly the center's been playing, the guards look even worse. So because of that, it makes me think that you want to upgrade at least one of your guards, preferably the left guard. Tackle isn't really the issue with the Panthers when I'm watching film. It's not like edge rushers getting a ton of sacks on them. It's defensive ends, defensive tackles.
Right. That interior pressure.
Yeah, and that's why Bryce Young is ducking passes, is because instead of him having a 250-pound guy that he doesn't see coming at him when he's trying to throw the ball, he's got a 350-pound ball rolling towards him. That's the difference.
The dude roll on the ground.
Yeah,
tumbling towards him.
There's a big difference there. You're not aware of the pressure behind you. Boom, you get hit, but you got the throw off. You step up in the pocket. Well, you know that you're stepping up. But when you're forced to run back, or you're forced to just brace up for that hit, when you step up in the pocket, you're getting hit, and you kind of brace your shoulder down. You're getting hit. It's coming. When you're in that position, you're like, I don't want to get hit. So what can I do to not get hit? Yeah.
Almost nothing.
Yeah.
At this point.
So that's the thing with Bryce Young is I don't think he's had a fair shake yet. Other quarterback in this rookie class that we just mentioned, CJ Stroud being so dynamic this season, Texans, Jets. What are we thinking here?
Texans move up to 8-5.
Mm-hmm.
And take control of the division. I think they win pretty easy. The Texans defense is going to force Zach Wilson, since he just got named the starter today, to make a couple mistakes and throw an interception or two. But the Texans are going to win 31-13.
That's funny you say that, because I have it 31-21 Texans.
I can see it. Again, I think the Jets' key to winning games, especially this year after losing Aaron Rodgers, has been to run the ball. And they don't do that consistently. One game, they'll run it, 20 times. The next game, 10 times.
I don't think that they'll be able to run it on the Texans like that.
Not enough yard. They won't get a lot of yards, but they need to run the ball, get those 3-4 yards.
Establish themselves.
Which I think
be multi-dimensional.
Yeah. And not just immediately go one-dimensional, because we've seen that so many times from the Jets this season. Well, they'll throw the ball 45 times, but only have ran it 9 times.
Yeah, bro.
Right.
I showed you.
And you can't expect to win the games like that, especially with Zach Wilson as your quarterback.
I showed you that game I played online on Madden. I beat that guy 94-14. I did that through a balanced offensive attack. He didn't know what was coming. I could hear him through the mic. He's saying, "What? I don't even know what defense to call, bro."
Yeah. And that's
multi-dimensional.
And that's what happened. And the Jets are not good at doing that this year. It's like they forgot how to coach and call plays.
Horrible adjustment skills, it seems like. Do you think Robert Saleh is on the hot seat?
No, I think they'll give him one more year.
I think so too.
Is his hot seat year?
Yeah.
I think he's pretty safe this year
because Aaron Rodgers got injured.
Yeah, and I think that's the excuse that's going to be made. Right? If they're 4-8 with Aaron Rodgers, I think he's on the hot seat.
I think he's gone at 4-8. Yeah.
I don't think gone yet, but I think he's on his way out.
Yeah.
Right. But so because of that, I think next year is his hot seat. year, so to speak.
100%.
So
People were glamoring about this hot seat this upcoming season. Sean McVay with the Rams going and fighting off the Ravens, who have been dynamic this season, coming off a bye week. Lamar Jackson looking in full form. Zay Flowers looking like he's coming into his own. What are we thinking here?
Zay Flowers balling on Boo. The Ravens have been playing well. Rams been playing pretty decent though as well. I think I might have to give the edge to the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're too dynamic of a team. I don't think the Rams have the defense that they once used to be able to control the game
Mm-hmm.
and that line of scrimmage and keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket.
What do you think of final score is?
Ooh,
Oh, what the hell?
something. Yeah, I'm back. I'm thinking score. What?
Your other one's still here, bro.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so weird.
That's gonna make things awkward.
This is weird.
Okay, there we go. We can just cut that out later. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, man. I feel like it's gonna be 24 to. I don't think it's gonna be a blowout. I think it's gonna be a mildly close game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be like 24-17 type game.
Who's winning?
The Ravens. I think they're just gonna control the game and not necessarily score a lot of points, but they're just gonna have that time of possession.
I'm thinking 31-10 Ravens, by the way. I'm thinking complete blowout.
So you think mild blowout? I would not be surprised.
I think Puka and Cooper still get their receptions. So like in PPR leagues, I still think they're valuable, even though there's going to be one touchdown on the Rams side. Zay Flowers is a lock. Odell Beckham, I think, is a safe start this week. Lamar, obviously.
I'd start him. Yeah, of course. You don't say him, though, either. What about from the Rams side?
Cooper Kupp, Puka, and that's about it.
Not Kyron or Matt Stafford?
No, I'm not feeling confident in Stafford throwing enough touchdowns, and I think he's going to throw a couple picks. He's definitely going to get sacked a couple times.
Yeah, and I've just seen in previous weeks, like that middle of the field for the Ravens is just so deadly.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how good the Rams will be at attacking the outsides. But they got the weapons to attack the middle of the field. They got the weapons to attack deep and the outside. So I'm interested to see the kind of game plan for throwing the ball that they have going into this.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think I'm on the same page with you. Same kind of logic. I like all those starts, and I think I agree with them all.
100%. All right, so that leads us into our next game, Vikings Raiders.
Oof.
Aiden O'Connell, you feeling good against this Vikings defense?
Yes.
Yes.
No. Maybe.
No.
So maybe.
Pick one.
God, man, you put me on the spot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm feeling good against Aiden O'Connell. I think Joshua Dobbs makes some mistakes. Going to give them the Raiders a short field position a couple times.
Okay.
Which is going to lead to some easy points.
So you think Raiders are going to win
O'Connell.
it?
Yeah.
Final score?
Yeah. I think it's going to be like 34-27, 34-27. Raiders win. And I mean, for the Raiders, I'm starting Josh Jacobs, Aiden O'Connell. I'm thinking about the tight end, the one you stole from me.
Michael Mayer?
Yeah, you little bastard.
Hey, bro, I didn't steal shit.
You stole him from me.
I didn't, though.
You picked him up off waivers before I could, and that was some BS.
I didn't know you wanted him.
And I probably start, and I think Devonta Adams.
Yeah.
No questions. You start him no matter what.
Josh
He's
Jacobs.
just too good. He's just too good not to start. I already said Josh Jacobs.
Oh,
I would
sorry.
start him. No, you're good. But anyone outside of that, I think it's just really those 4 players from the Raiders for me. I would start.
Yeah, I'm thinking Vikings win this game 24-21. Start Joshua Dobbs.
Yeah. I think
Justin
you can start him
Jefferson's
pretty
supposed to
easy.
be 100%. That's
Yep.
the word on the street. Jordan Addison, I think is a go still. Hawk, I think is a go. Madison, I don't think he's going to get enough work.
Hawk's an easy go, yeah.
Yeah. Raiders, I agree. Adams, you have to go with. O'Connell, I think will have a solid game. Not great. Super flex, valuable starter. But other than that, I don't know.
JJ is full go. He's not on injury report. So
Yep. So
I think you never said JJ. So is there anyone that you'd be willing to like take a risk on for like a big boom week?
Jacoby Meyer.
I could see it. I think there's going to be enough work there, not necessarily like yardage wise, but enough like short fieldage, red zone type plays for him to get a touchdown and like 3 or 4 catches, which I think is going to be enough because that gets you 13, 14 points right there.
100%. That's kind of where I was thinking with him.
So I could see it. Not surprised.
We know he has the potential to have over a 100-yard game too. So
yeah, easy potential.
So, against a mediocre Vikings defense that might have to double team Adams, opens up the door for Jacoby to have a great day.
Yep.
Especially if he's getting slotted up in that seam where they're going to be playing on a, cross coverage. So, they might be running like a robber look on one side and a Tampa 2 on the other, and the reason they're running the robber on one side is because they're trying to go ahead and shift the field to watch the backfield on one side and also have the double coverage on Devontae Adams still. But now you get to trade that off for, just a full zone coverage scheme that goes ahead and helps you cover out everything else on the field.
Right.
So, with that being said, that leads us into our next matchup. Seahawks, 49ers.
Oof. Easy 49ers win.
Ayuk, Debo, Kittle. Anybody that's wearing red. DK, I'd start. Gino, I'd be hesitant, but if you don't think he's going to throw too many picks, then go for it. That's your call. I'm not comfortable starting him this week, but if you think against me, I wouldn't blame you. JSN, I feel like is going to have some work this week.
Yep. I agree.
And Charbonnet is probably going to get some work. He might have a 100-yard performance in total. So you don't get that boost, but I could see him getting a touchdown and a few receptions.
I'd lean Kenneth Walker over him.
Is Kenneth healthy this week?
Yeah, he's not on injury report.
Okay, cool. Then yeah, obviously Kenneth Walker.
Do you think Zach Charbonnet is ever gonna like? Do you think they're ever gonna be like Jan Warren and Najee Harris, where they're both valuable most weeks?
No, just because I don't think they run the ball enough.
Yeah, and yeah, I would agree with that. But that's not who the Seahawks are.
Right.
Either.
So Walker is listed as questionable currently, but
I was looking at ESPN. I didn't see that.
As of 2 hours ago, Walker oblique was a non-participant at Wednesday's practice.
Oh, that's wild. ESPN whacked them crazy.
That's so crazy.
Crazy.
Was that article read? Okay, that you know what it might be. That article might have been written earlier in the day because that report wouldn't have came out until around 6 p.m., maybe 7 p.m. Like,
I'm looking at the Gamecast.
Well, no, that would have been 5 p.m. in Washington.
Yeah, I guess whenever they listed the injury report.
Yeah.
As of. Yeah, never mind. Anyways.
Because if they listed at like noon or something, then that could be where that's at. But Maybe it's just not reported on yet.
If Charbonnet, if Walker doesn't play,
Charbonnet's ago.
Charbonnet, I think is who needs to go. But if Walker plays, I think coming back from injury, they might slow him into it. But then I wouldn't play either one of them. But if Walker is more like a full go, then I think you play Walker
Mm-hmm.
easy because they're going to feed him. They're going to give him the workload. And he'll probably might not get the yardage or get that 100-yard bonus, but he's going to get a touchdown and then a few catches.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Any other starts this week for you?
No, that's about it for me. There's not a whole lot.
Final score?
I'm interested on the Seahawks. San Fran, 34-13. I think it's going to be another blowout like last week for the 49ers.
I'm thinking
I'm feeling it.
41-27 49ers.
41-27. A little bit below, not too bad. 14-point win. I like it. I'm with it. I agree.
That leads us into an AFC heavyweight matchup. Bills.
Oh, God, dude, both teams are playing like ass.
They are.
So I don't even know who to pick for this one. But I got to ride with my starting quarterback and Patty Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go with the Chiefs, win this one. I think it's going to be like a 31-24 overtime game.
Calling OT on it.
I'm calling OT on it, and it's another game where Josh Allen gets scared of the coin toss.
What's the repercussion for you calling OT?
None.
Do we just get one overtime pick a week?
I think there's no repercussions. There's no repercussions for you in the tie.
That's fair. That's fair. I
wouldn't be. I mean, this is what. I mean, they've already gone twice now between the Chiefs and the Bills, so I could see going a third time.
That's fair.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be either.
So, and I'm kind of rooting for it. I think it'd be fun. It would be kind of fun if this was a tie.
That would be wild if it was a tie.
Just ended in a tie.
Fuck
That'd
it.
be so crazy, dude.
The tiebreakers after that would be nutty.
Oh my God. You want to know what to do?
The whole AFC would be shook because, the Broncos are competing for a spot. The Raiders are competing for a spot. The Dolphins are trying to hold their spot from the Bills. And then, where a tiebreaker might come in is if Broncos end up winning throughout the rest of the season and the Chiefs drop a couple more games, and then they go and get the first seed, and then now they're in over the Chiefs, and now the Chiefs are competing for a wild card spot, but the Bills are too because the Dolphins are already in. And now that you got this tie that's going to be settled in conference wins, which they have a similar amount to. If this game ends in a tie, bro, it literally could just end up fucking everything up.
If this game ends in a tie, it's because of Taylor Swift.
True.
And Travis, you can just blame it on me. Just blame it on Taylor Swift. Even though she was like the person of the year, but she wouldn't be the person of the year in this case because the Chiefs lost because of her.
I'm going to say 24-17 Bills.
24-17. It could be a very low-scoring game, so this would kind of be a game that I'd probably bet the under on.
Yeah. Any fantasy starts that are notable this week for you? Rashee Rice?
No offense is looking great. Rashee Rice, I'd probably take a fly on. Gabe Davis for the Bills, I'd take a fly on.
Which one would you rather start, Rice or David?
I have more faith in the Chiefs, so Rice.
I agree.
I don't like the Bills' offense enough. I think it's better that they have Joe Brady. I think he could do good things for them. But all in all, I think Rice, I think is the obvious answer. Gabe Davis just hasn't really done anything this year, whereas we've seen some flashes from Rashee Rice.
100%. All right. Man, I'm not feeling safe on Gabe Davis at all. Stephon Diggs is going to put up numbers. Dawson, Kincaid, I think, is going to be pretty solid. I think I'm expecting 11 points from him this week. Josh Allen, I don't think is going to have a great week. And the Chiefs side of the ball, I'm feeling good with Rice. I'm feeling good with Kelsey. Patrick Mahomes, Pacheco, I think, is actually going to be the one of the touchdowns that the Chiefs score that I'm predicting. But after that, you
Ooh,
know, I think he's going to have probably 5 receptions, 80 yards on the ground. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
I like it.
So, you know, that's all I got to say. And we were just talking about the Broncos in this division. They have a divisional matchup against the Chargers coming up. What you thinking here?
I think the Broncos continue rolling, and I don't see this being really a challenging game for them.
100%.
Thinking about this one. So I think you start Russell Wilson, Cortland Sutton. I think are pretty safe starts.
Mm-hmm.
But for the Chargers, Austin Eckler, you might be able to start Justin Herbert, but he also might have a game like he did last week against the Patriots where he's not worth a damn, you know. Keenan Allen, I think is an obvious start.
Yeah.
Maybe Gerald Everett if you need a tight end stream.
I'm thinking
That's
final
kind of where
score
I'm
for
at.
me is 27-3 Broncos.
27.
27-3 Broncos.
I was kind of thinking like 31-7 Broncos.
Because of that, I'm staying away from anybody wearing powder blue. Huh.
I'm still willing to the bet on Keenan Allen because
Keenan Allen's
Austin
still going to
Eckler,
get 7 catches probably. But,
they're still going to get those points, right? I think because the offense runs through them both, so they're going to get their work, they're going to get their points, and they're going to get you at least 15 points.
100%.
No, I understand definitely for sure staying away from someone like Justin Herbert, Gerald Everett, and everyone else on the Chargers.
It just seems like there's something in the water over there in LA, and I don't like it. But that
What do
leads
you
us
think the problem is with them, though, real quick?
coaching. Literally, just coaching style.
This coach.
They got the talent.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
it's
someone did say
proven.
that
It's
he should go
proven that
back
that
into Division
roster.
3.
It's proven that that roster can go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
The roster is the same. What the fuck happened? You have Khalil
The
Mack, who's
coaching.
the top 3 sack leader in the NFL right now. Quietly,
Do you think he gets fired after this year?
he should.
But do you think he will?
No,
Yeah. Even though he should.
he should.
Staley should be fired. He should be gone by now. He should have been gone earlier.
Yeah,
I think they're wasting that talent on that offense.
wasting prime years of those contracts. You have a superstar team assembled right now. Like, although Joey
And it's,
Bosa's are injured right now, like you got Khalil Mack, you got Joey Bosa,
mm-hmm.
you have hella weapons in your secondary. You know, you have Austin Eckler, you have Keenan Allen, you have Justin
Mm-hmm.
Herbert, you have a good offensive line led by Rashawn Slater. You know, you just got a great team put together. You know, you got Gerald Everett, Quinn Johnson, who should have been a lock to be a great receiver, and he's just suffering right now because the offense is so bad. Mike Williams, when he's healthy, I don't know,
It's
man.
kind of wild because he should be much better than he is. The whole team should be better than they are.
Yeah.
But it's kind of unfortunate.
Speaking of loaded rosters, NFC heavyweight matchup: Eagles, Dallas. I'm starting Jalen Hurts.
I think
I'm
Dallas
starting.
wins this easy.
Ooh, I'm starting DeAndre Swift. I'm starting AJ Brown. I'm starting Dallas Goddard. I'm starting Devontae Smith is probably a safe start. I was on the fence about him, but yeah, honestly, fuck it. I'd start him.
Fuck it.
I think that this will be a high scoring affair. Broncos, or not Broncos, but Cowboys. Dak Prescott has been playing out of his fucking mind. I think that he's a lock for fantasy at this point. I see him throwing 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, 300 plus yards. That's kind of what I'm pegging
Mm-hmm.
Dak Prescott at. As for the rest of the team, CeeDee Lamb has done nothing but prove himself worthy. Tony Pollard, I think, is a comfortable start this game. I think that he's going to be a requirement for the Dallas Cowboys to win, which I do think that they're going to do. I think that's going to be 31-24 Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh. 31-24.
What was your final score?
I think it's gonna be like 42-27. Cowboys win.
All right.
I think they're gonna keep on rolling.
Any objections to my starts and sits?
No, I think you start everyone you can
Yeah,
for the most part on both teams.
I think it's a bloodbath.
Affair. I almost kind of, I don't know. I almost was gonna say it's gonna come down to who has the ball last, but I think the Cowboys are gonna be up by 17 points by that point, so it's not gonna matter really.
100%. I think that leads us into our next game. Titans, Dolphins. Tyreek.
Dolphins easy.
Tyreek could technically break the record this game.
He would have to get a lot of yards, but yeah, he could.
He could do it, bro.
He'd have to get 500.
He could do it against the Titans defense, bro.
I mean, he could, but unlikely. He'll probably get like 170.
Yeah, probably, but still, imagine.
I think you start Tua. I think you start obviously Tyreek, and you start Jalen Waddle. You start Raheem.
Yeah, I would. I'm double checking Tyreek's stats, by the way. That's why I'm on my phone.
No, you're good. I think Raheem.
Yeah, he would need 519 yards. He probably won't get it this game, but there's a chance.
No,
if there's a team that he could do this against. Imagine if Tyreek had a 500-yard game, bro. How could you deny him MVP?
Because he didn't break the record yet, technically.
Well, with that type of game, he would have.
If he got 519, but you said 500.
If he goes out and has 519 yards, bro, breaks the record, has that signature just like obscene fucking game, what happens?
I think he catapults into the MVP race.
I do too.
I think that's what happens. I think he possibly goes up to number 2 because I think Dak Prescott is probably number 1 right now.
I agree.
And then number 2, I would think.
I'm thinking 42-10 Fins.
42-10. I'm thinking like 45-17 Fins. I think Will Levis, you could start. I feel pretty good because this game he might have an interception, but guess what? He's going to have fumble recovery and a tackle possibly. So, he gets a little added bonus points if your league counts for tackles.
Yes, sir.
But I think he gets a couple touchdown plays. And then I think he's going to get like 270 to 300 yards passing. And then Derrick Henry, I think you can safely start most weeks, if not every week.
Yeah.
Because the Dolphins defense plays well as a unit, but they got some holes.
Mm-hmm.
Their run defense hasn't always been great, but they have played well in games, but they haven't been consistent every game. So I would feel comfortable starting King Henry. D-Hop, I'd probably start in this game.
100%.
I think, but I think that's about it, honestly.
I can see why you want to start D-Hop. Personally, I wouldn't start Levis or D-Hop this game. Henry, I think, is a lock. But personally, I just disagree. I can see where you're coming from, and I understand it. I just disagree.
I get it.
I think if you're really needy, you could do it. But, like, we're talking about, like, sub-16 weeks for both the players.
Hey, and if you got players out on bye or
That's
injured,
true.
That's not bad.
That's true. There's no bye weeks this week, though.
Whatever. Same thing.
Final game of the week, the 16th game of the week. Oh, actually, is there teams on the bye right now?
There are 2. So
there are 2.
Cardinals and Washington.
Go fuck
I
yourself.
knew there
You're
was
right.
2 teams. I swear to God. I was like, I'm
I was
not
like, oh
crazy.
wait, hold up. 15th game of the week. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
Hey, bro, the most
Yeah.
forgettable teams. Can you blame me?
I mean, you're not wrong. The Chiefs are kind of forgettable too at this point. So
Packers, Giants, Monday Night Football.
Packers easy.
Packers easy. I agree.
Although Tommy DeVito's kind of been playing pretty good, he might be worth a start.
Tommy Money, bro.
He been playing pretty solid, man. He might be worth this little start. He makes start.
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
So
I think the final score is 31-21 Packers. So, he's still
yeah,
valuable in that scenario. So, yeah, I could see a start for Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito. Anyone else for the Giants?
Tommy does something very well that isn't praised enough, and that's he spreads the ball around a lot. So for
He
fantasy
does do
owners,
that.
it's not as great, but like in actual NFL play, like it's really helpful. So because of that, I'm not feeling too hot on anybody in the receiving core for the Giants. So DeVito's probably my only start, really.
Yeah, yeah. I think Tommy DeVito's the only one that you can start. I was trying to think of a counter argument, but I couldn't come up with one.
Yeah,
I couldn't think of anything, so I was like, well, I guess I gotta agree because I think you are correct in that Tommy DeVito is really the only one worth starting outside Saquon, and I don't think Saquon's playing this week.
yeah. Obviously, Saquon plays, he gets the nod.
Right.
On
But
the Packers
like
side
the
of the ball,
Giants don't have anyone worth a damn on
yeah,
receiving or any backup running backs worth playing. On the Packers side of the ball, Jordan Love I think is a pretty good start.
I think
Christian
he's a go.
Watson
I think he's
is
a
a good
go.
start. Romeo Dobbs, how we
If you're
feeling?
needy at flex,
And then I'm forgetting the guy from Michigan State that just drafted. Do you remember his name? Jaden Reed.
Jane Reed.
Jaden Reed.
I pass on him this week.
Do you think he has that boom potential though this week?
Yeah, I could see him getting 15 points or so. Nothing more.
Hey, you know what? That's all I need. Because I'm starting him in our other league.
Hell yeah. What's the final
'Cause
score of this game?
I think the Packers win pretty easy, 34-14.
Ooh, you got a blowout.
I think it is going to be a pretty good blowout.
All right. So let's do a wrap up. Run it back from the top to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Steelers Patriots. You say 17-7 Steelers. I say 13-3 Steelers. Do you lock in?
Lock in.
Falcons Bucks. 21-17 Bucks. 27-13 Falcons.
That was easy.
Okay. Bears Lions. The Lions 27-17. I said 34-13.
That was easy.
Okay. Colts Bengals. You said Bengals 34-24. I said Colts 27-17.
Easy.
Okay.
No questions.
Jags Browns 17-10 Jags. I said 13-10 Jags.
Yep. Lock in.
All right. Panthers Saints 27-10 Saints. 24-10 Saints on my end.
Yep. No change.
Texans Jets. You said 31-13 Texans. I said 31-21 Texans.
Yep.
Rams Ravens. You said 24-17 Ravens. I said 31-10 Ravens.
Yep.
Vikings Raiders. You said 34-27 Raiders. I said 24-21 Vikings.
Yep.
Seahawks 49ers. You said 34-13 49ers. I said 41-27 49ers.
Yeah, no change.
Bills Chiefs 31-24 Chiefs overtime victory. I said 24-17 Bills.
Yep. Easy.
Broncos Chargers. You said 31-7 Broncos. I said 27-3 Broncos.
No change. I'm good with those.
Eagles Dallas 42-27 Cowboys. I said 31-24 Cowboys.
Yep.
Titans Dolphins. You said 45-17 Fins. I said 42-10 Fins.
Yep.
And finally Packers Giants 34-14 Packers. 31-21 Packers.
Yep. I'm good
All
with
right.
all those, man. I
We'll
got
lock.
nothing to change.
He locked it in.
Locking in.
Lock it in. All right.
Locking it in, my guy. So the chat on Facebook, the girlfriend was going crazy. She's a major Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, she posted something that Swifty said. She's like, football is awesome. Turns out I've been missing out my whole life. And she's like, she's so real for this. I was like,
She wild for that, bro. She wild for that.
dude, she just kept commenting Taylor Swift stuff. And she's like, we love the Chiefs. Go Trav. Wild. Absolutely wild. But before we get off and end this episode, I want you to give me 3 dark horse players for the
Before
week.
the dark horse, I do want to say this. My aunt, I was hanging out with her the other
Mhm.
day, and
Mhm.
she's a big Taylor Swift fan, and she said, "Was Travis Kelsey really even like that relevant before Taylor Swift?" And I was like, "Yes, definitely. Yes, he was like the best tight end in the NFL and still is."
That's
Yeah,
funny because I love telling her that Travis Kelsey made Taylor Swift famous.
yeah.
It's so fun. She just rolls her eyes at me, but it's fun to say.
I didn't know who Taylor Swift was before Travis Kelsey started dating her.
Most people didn't, man.
That's how I feel.
Most people didn't, and
So
that's okay. That's
dark
okay.
horse candidates.
Yeah, people you don't think are going to do good, but that you could see a real possibility of them exploding for at least like 15 points.
Michael Pittman,
Solid answer.
George Pickens,
I accept.
Travis Etienne.
See, the only problem I have with the list is George Pickens. I personally would say JSN over Pickens,
Mm-hmm.
just because I think there's going to be more opportunity in that game, and it's going to be more of a blowout, or not really a blowout, but more high scoring affair.
I think the Steelers come
They're
out
going to pass
pissed.
more.
And I think a big thing is just going to be getting George Pickens on crossing routes and getting him deep.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that they are going to sling the ball to their detriment, but they're going to. And George Pickens will be the beneficiary of it. And if it goes right, it's big points. JSN,
Like I said,
he
I
has the
could
potential, but the
I can
issue is sorry, I just want to wrap up on this point on the comparison.
No, you're good.
The thing is with JSN, it's the issue with JSN is different than the issue with George Pickens. George Pickens gets the targets when he gets open. JSN doesn't because they're trying to force the ball to DK Metcalf or they're just taking the pass to Noah Fant. They just are routinely. George Pickens
Maybe
gets open.
Pickens. Maybe he shouldn't be slow.
Pickens?
Maybe Pickens should just not be slow and be a little bit quicker. Hmm. 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 Hmm.
He could.
Hmm.
He could.
Big brain. Big brain.
I like it.
I'm just kidding. Anyways, what were you saying? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
you're good. Just at the end of the day, the matchups that he's going to be getting against the Patriots, I think, are going to be significantly better than the matchups that JSN is going to end up having to deal with.
I get it. Like I said, I just think there's going to be too much work to go around in that game for the Seahawks receivers. I think they're going to pass enough to where that potential is there for JSN to get that extreme work.
Okay, realistically, 4 receptions, 7 targets, right? If we're playing this scenario realistically, and let's say 60 yards being generous, that's 10 points. And if he gets a touchdown, so that makes him touchdown reliant to get up to 16.
Yeah,
Now, George Pickens, on the other side of it, if the Steelers are going to play how I think that they're going to play, he's going to end up getting probably 6 targets, 3 or 4 receptions. I think probably 3 callbacks. I'm seeing him getting more yardage because I think that they're going to be deeper passes and probably a touchdown. So I'm seeing him get 70 yards, 80 yards on 3 or 4 receptions.
I don't disagree with the argument, and I understand it, and I agree. It's just if we're talking I'd put him at 4, right? But since we're just picking 3, I like the potential of JSN more.
That's fair.
This week.
I put JSN at 5.
Yeah. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Pickens goes off for 20 this game because against a degraded Patriots defense and a very sad Patriots offense, it's very likely the Steelers could be on the field offensively a lot this game.
Yeah.
Just because of how bad the Patriots offense is, not necessarily because of how good the Steelers defense is, though. Even though the Steelers have a great defense, I think the offense is just so atrocious.
100%.
There's going to be just constant punting and 3 and outs. That's
Well, you know,
good
I
field
would
position and just get that time of possession.
I wouldn't be surprised if, Bailey Zapp goes and throws 2 or 3 picks in the first half, then Mac Jones gets put in and he throws another 2 picks. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened.
Yeah.
And the Steelers just start off with good field position and they just put up like 35 points. That's a scenario that I wouldn't be surprised to see happen. I don't think it's going to happen though.
Like I said, pathetic Patriots offense.
It's rough.
No matter who's the quarterback, and I think that's really their big issue. And last thing I'll say about them is I hope to God they draft someone.
Me too, bro. For your sake. And
thank you.
Leaving it on that, thank you guys for tuning in on episode 100 of the Sporting Lounge. Congratulations, Austin. You made it through all 100 episodes.
I have survived.
Kudos. Do a little rain dance for you. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Follow us on our Facebook page over at the Sporting Lounge. Don't forget to throw me a follow at twitch.tv/stripformation. And with that being said, I hope you guys have a great night, and bye-bye.
Peace.